Right, okay, so a little while ago, someone asked me if I could show how to start building a bigger city. And in particular, I think they were using more of a vanilla version of cities, so probably with less DLC and absolutely no mods. So I think I've built a reasonably sized city to help you out to start to understand how you build a larger city, but also how you understand traffic flow, how to set out your residential, commercial, and industrial zones. So I'm going to start off by just introducing you to what you might call the original small village. So it was coming off here, and I did my little heart junction. And that heart junction then split off into the residential area and the industrial area. And then I had here, I'll change it onto this, I had a little bit of commercial between the residential. Now, the original industrial zone was actually this one here, but after quite a while playing this, I've now turned it into a commercial zone as my city's expanded. But I'll just show you the basic logic of what I do to get myself going properly. So I have my heart junction. I'll leave a link in the description to how to build a heart junction, and that splits off. Over here I've got my residential. Now you'll see that I've tried to build in lots of small little pods, and each residential is quite small. I've even got a residential over this side that needs a cemetery by the look of it. Yeah, bottom right. Okay, otherwise they're going to end up. And then obviously I've got some, I'll go into the public transport that I've built later on, but I've got some public transport built into the area. You might notice there's little tunnels coming off some of these. What that is, if I go into road view, is I actually built a lot of underground tunnels just from residential areas quite frequently into commercial and industrial areas. I don't build too many of them because if you do that, you will end up with trucks taking those tunnels, and that's not the aim. Anyway, so with my little residentials, they're all podded together, all reduced. I tend to put the heavy traffic ban on to prevent trucks moving through those areas. Then you'll see that I don't actually put my commercial mixed in to any of the residential. I keep it separate. And you'll see as well that it's halfway, well, between any industrial units and any residential. And that way, trucks come from one side to drop off supplies, residents come from the other side, and then they head back to their respective places. Moving on, you'll see that I've got quite a major road network heading through the middle here that's all one way. And this is just to make sure that traffic is split apart. Another little rule that I have when I'm doing one-way streets is that traffic should always turn off to the side of the road that you drive on. So in this case, everything's pulling off to the left. That will reduce roads getting blocked by turning. So if you imagine your left hand side of the road, if you've got traffic turning to the right, you will block the traffic. And then of course you can see I've got loads more residential at the top as my city has expanded, but you can see even though I've gone into the big residentials, I've still tried to split them off and I've put little commercial zones. Now here is the real big one. What do you do about your industrial? Because this is where all the traffic comes from. This is where your roads get clogged up. This is where you see you get these major traffic points here. I would say that I know it looks here that I've done really bad and got a terrible traffic zone. Don't always assume that a massive build-up of traffic is poor planning. Now the reason behind that is when you build a new residential like this new one here, all of the cars initially come from out of town and then they will take the nearest exit and head towards here. So this is not bad city planning at all. This is just I built a new set of residentials and all of those new residents are coming into the city, and for a short while they are going to clog my road network. but it will resolve itself after a time when you stop building. You can actually see proof of this in my old town. In my old town, there's a lot less traffic chaos because no new building is being done, so it's slowed down and I've just got my natural flow of work. So back to my industrial again, because as I said that this was rather important. You'll notice that I have a lot of branching off roads, and from all of those branches I only put down a small number of warehouses off each branch on the road, off these little side roads. I do that because what happens with trucks is as they kind of turn into their respective places, I'll see if I can find one actually turning in at the moment. It would be useful. I think this one's going to do it. That they don't actually go inside. So while they're turning into an industry, they block the road. So I will never actually put a warehouse or anything along a main road, because as those trucks turn in to drop off their load or pick up, they will block the entire road. So I branch them off. I know it might seem that I'm wasting tons of space, but look how big the map is. You've got so much space to play with, you just don't need to worry about it. Now, as your city develops and gets bigger, you'll gain access to the high density offices for industry, and you can see you can start filling in some of the gaps. I still would say don't overdo it because they will still generate traffic. So the more of those you build within the industrial, the more traffic you're going to generate. But just remember, you can fill in a few of those gaps later on. So this is basically how I set up a city, and it does work rather well. I know that I'm only up to big city point at the moment, and there's still, as you can see, a long way to go, but I do still believe that I've kept this very well laid out. I've thought about everything. The big important one is your industry. Okay, get these harp junctions up and running. You can see I built a whole new road network here to deal with this industry. Don't put too much industry in one place, because I did actually make that mistake earlier on in the game, and that's why I now have two harp junctions. I split the industry and now they're heading to these. And that's it really. That's how you get your basic sourdough. So keep your residential separate. It doesn't need to be near the motorway. Push it right out. Just force it to the edges. From there, get your industry so it's nice and distributed even within a particular area, because that way when trucks turn in, they're not going to block each other and they're not going to get a massive backlog all the way down. Get your commercial between your residential and your industry. That way there's less crossover as trucks try and get to commercial on the other side of a residential. Just make sure that they're buffering each other. And as I said, don't be afraid of this, okay? If you've just built a residential area and you see massive backlogs all of a sudden, it's probably just the new people coming to join your city. And as you can see, it's actually started to improve now that it's slowed down the building. The other thing is, if you are conscious about where your traffic is flowing within your town, well, within your city, just go here and have a look. You can literally just press on any piece of road and just work out where the flow is going. You can actually see these are new houses, and these are all the new people coming in. You can see their private vehicles clogging up the roads, and that's just going to happen for a while, but it will fix itself as well. And I suppose my only other last tip when it's coming to road layout and anything is, you see, I like my little heart junctions. Now, on rare occasions, you'll see me running this road underneath. What you should never, ever do is connect two heart junctions when you've got two connecting motorways. So I'll show what I mean by that. There's a motorway up here. I would never connect that motorway to that motorway through a heart junction. And the reason behind that is all of the bypassing traffic from here is going to plug straight through your city, and it's going to clog up all of this, and it's going to stop it working. When I actually spread this way, what I'm going to do is I'm going to actually build a road from here to here so that less traffic goes along this main road. So there's lots of things you can do to push traffic away and be better planning. But some three top tips there. Residential should kind of be as far away from the main road as possible. Industry as close to it as possible, with nicely spread out buildings, with your commercial buffering between them.